Hi everyone, this is Meir. I had a fun time speaking with Dr. Watkins about my new book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. And I'm so happy that he supported my work. I want this work to help everyone, and it would be very nice if you will practice what I was teaching. It would be also very nice if many of your friends would do the same thing. I enjoyed very much advising people who call the show, and I'll be very happy to advise you and help you work on yourself. Form a support group, work on yourself. And one way that I can help you is with the comfort of your home. Get to your home through your own computer. Many blessings, Meir.
And good afternoon, and good Happy New Year. This is Dr. Theodore Watkins, and this is your program, To Your Health. We're excited to be with you. It's been a while since we've been together live on the air, but we've missed you, and I hope that you are having an outstanding time. We usually, at this time of the year, talk about getting started on New Year's resolutions. And we know that many of our New Year's resolutions are health related or have a health component. And of course, we also know that we have, of course, every intention of fulfilling those resolutions. But historically, most of us have seen abject failure when it comes to our resolutions. Today, we will be approaching your health for the new year altogether differently. Our friend and long-time supporter of WPFW, Dr. Meir Snyder, has just released a new book that will actually walk you step by step through the process that will perhaps help you to achieve the changes that you want in your life. The book is entitled Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. Awakening your power of self-healing. And we are just excited that we have Dr. Snyder on the air with us. Welcome, Dr. Snyder.
Hi, it's nice to talk to you from rainy San Francisco. Finally, we have some rain. It was so dry and warm all this time.
Well, we're getting ready to have some freezing rain here, so I'm a little envious of you and your rain, your warm rain.
It is.
Yes.
So there is something urgent at all times, and this is the fact that the body has amazing potential for great health, and so little of it is being realized. And that's what really got me to want to write this book and to give everyone at their home and every group of people at their home a chance to take care of their body's needs. And let me explain that. Many people are so impressed, and so am I, by the way, and I'm sure you are too, with the incredible advancement of knowledge about the body.
Yes.
And medicine have really specialized so much in so many parts of the body that while you are a general practitioner and surgeon, I assume, am I right about that?
That's correct.
Yeah. There are those surgeons that are only specialized in the intestines, and other surgeons only specialize in the retina, and other surgeons only specialize in the cornea. And some surgery is done by general practitioners, and some surgeries are done by specialized people. And so out of all to that system, we made one error, and it might have been a very bad mistake for the body. And this is, we started to study the body and treat the body as if the body is made out of so many different systems that have no connection to each other.
You're absolutely right.
And that is such a mistake, because everything in the body is interconnected. If you have a challenge with your vision, you have to work with that challenge, but does not mean that you shouldn't be working on your breathing. If you have challenge with your heart and circulation, it doesn't mean that you don't want to deal with your digestion and with your joints. If you have challenge with your digestion, it doesn't mean you don't want to work with your nervous system. And so for that reason, I've written my book, because I want you to work with all those systems with exercises, which includes exercises of muscles you have known, learn how to loosen them up, exercises with joints you always worked, learn how to oil them better, exercises with muscles you never known, exercises with parts of your lungs that you have never reached in your life, exercises that can help your blood vessels work better, and of course exercise can help your hearing and can help your vision much better.
It's very interesting that you would present your book this way, and it certainly is excellent. My wife and I belong to this family club, and we had our meeting this past Saturday evening, and at each meeting we have a health component, and this week, this month, the presenter was the past chairman of cardiovascular surgery at Howard, who's been a guest on my show a number of times, and he talked about how we do break the body up into different parts, but in reality, they're all interconnected.
Exactly.
And so when one part is hurting, it may be caused by something going on in another part, because it's sympathizing with that other part. And so that's why your book is so powerful. It helps to bring the whole disjointed thing together into one seamless flow. And I think it's just outstanding.
Right. And the way that I've written the book, I divided it into two sections. The first is 8 chapters that talk to me, to you, and to everybody in the world, starting with the wonderful people in D.C. and all the areas around it. And this is, first of all, let's work on our breathing. Let's learn how to stretch and allow more breathing in. Let's learn what helps breathing get better. For example, changes of temperature. If you sit in the same temperature all the time, your breathing is not going to be as deep. It is changing of temperatures and changing of movement that allow more breathing. Now, somebody can say, well, my problem is different than breathing. I say, would breathing hurt your problem? It won't. it will get you more oxygen.
And we used to think breathing was important. I can remember in the first grade, after we would sing the Pledge of Allegiance and, on all this stuff, the teacher would open the window and she'd have a stand and we would do breathing.
Isn't it something?
Yeah.
And look how we forgot that. Look, the more we become machinery and mechanizing ourselves, the more we forget that. And so the second chapter is on circulation. And I'm talking about the fact that when somebody feels stiff and fatigued and heavy, it means the blood doesn't flow well. There's few things you can do with it. One is that you could exercise. The other is you could rest. And in my book, I explain to you when you exercise, when you rest. And also I'm talking about loosening the muscles around the joints to allow the blood vessels to function better. And then I have a chapter on the joints, not the ones you smoke in California these days. Your body's choice. and what I'm saying about the joints is evenness is very important. Many people don't pay attention to how the sedentary lifestyle that we live, and then the sports that we do in the repetitive way that we do them, causes limited movement of the joints, that the bones become close to each other and the joint get destroyed. And I'm yet to find many people in the 60s and 70s without one form or another of osteoarthritis as a result of it. So evenness of the joints is very important. And I'm talking then about the evenness of the spine. You know that the old Greeks, Hippocrates, for example, said that everything, if you don't find a problem, where it begins, he always looks at the spine.
Yes.
And the space between the vertebrae is coming as a result of balance of the whole body, from the little finger to the little toe. And then there's a nice chapter on the nervous system, because everybody thinks you cannot affect the nervous system, but you sure can with coordination exercises. And there's a chapter on muscles, how to isolate muscle groups and not strain them. And, of course, chapter on vision. So I have 8 chapters, including massage. Then we're advising for people to work on themselves and once in a while to meet in groups and work on each other and help each other. But then I have 18 chapters with specific needs, from healthy needs, like how do you use your computer and your iPhone and rest from them and work on your periphery to not strain your eyes and to not strain your neck. How do you play a musical instrument without hurting your hands? And I call it you are your instrument, and be like feeling like you're part of the vibrations of the sound. And also how to run without hurting your joints, to make it in an even way, to run backwards and sideways, and visualize yourself stretching and creating a situation where you move heel to toes. But then we're talking about the different problems, from headaches to paralysis, to vision problems, to arthritis, all those 18 different chapters. I mean, many different kinds of paralysis, like Parkinson's, like multiple sclerosis, like ALS, like muscular dystrophy. And the point is, we always refer back to the first 8 chapters. Just because you have muscular dystrophy and your muscles are dying doesn't mean you don't need to breathe better or have more circulation. And then you also work specifically with the massage and movement, and especially movement in a pool that works on your dystrophic muscles. How do you work on multiple sclerosis? There's a specific way to work on it. 60% of the problem of multiple sclerosis is really secondary. Everything is stiff. And when other places become paralyzed, then you become even more paralyzed because of your stiffness. So we can actually undo some paralysis, reduce stiffness, and again, we come back to the fact that we need to work on our breathing, on our movement, and our awakening, and on our kinesthetic awareness. So this book should be a friend of everyone for your lifetime. And that's why I've written this book.
So you're saying that by doing some basic things with your breathing, your exercise, paying attention to your joints, it's very interesting. My wife, Saturday, when we were getting ready to leave, she had been feeling great all day, and her back started hurting her, and she was having severe pain. She said, well, honey, you may have to go on without me. I said, no, baby, do your stretches. And I had her do some stretches. 5 minutes, she was up and about,
Isn't it nice?
It's amazing.
So that shows that you have the skills, But I think it would have been nice if she every single day stood against the wall and brought her knees one by one to her chest. And when she brings the knee to the chest, she would breathe deeply into her lower back. And then slowly but surely, the lower back would lengthen. And she should also walk backwards and use some more leg muscles, and the back will be more supported. So you would have less incidences like that.
Well, that's. I will certainly make sure she's aware she may be actually listening.
I'm sending you a second book, one for you and one for your family.
All right. It's fantastic because I'm telling you, I'm hard-headed, but my wife, she'll do it.
No, you're not as hard-headed as you think. If somebody would give you a good massage and will help you relax from all the tension of dealing with too many people and too many problems.
It's very interesting you would say that. I was the medical director of this wellness center in Rapidan, Virginia, and I would run in there and see the patients and then head out and, come back home because it's 2.5 hours or so from my home, and I would always want to get out before for the traffic. And one day I got there a little early, and I went to the cafeteria to eat, and this gentleman came up to me. He said, "Doc, I've been watching you. You've been working so hard for others. I want to do something for you. So when you finish your patients, instead of going home right away, I want you to come over here to the center, and I'm going to give you a massage." And I thought he was going to give me a back massage. Doc, he took my hands, and he massaged my hands, and it affected every part of my body. I felt so good as I was driving down that road.
Think about it. You touch patients, you diagnose patients, you use your hands for everything that you're doing as an extension of your brain in a way, and your hands then become stiff because of the anxiety. Am I doing the right diagnosis, the right questioning, the right writing of details? And the moment that they relax, your body relaxes. And that is so good. That is a deep awareness. He had a good awareness of you, and you were able to create more awareness for yourself.
Yes.
That's a bit like yesterday. I worked with one of my patients that has ALS, which is, one of the worst God-given illnesses that exist, where, the Lou Gehrig disease, where you die while being alive. Within 2 years, you could end your life. Well, I tell you, my theory about it, to deviate from our subject, is that actually ALS ended up finishing, that the disease is not forever, but the effects of the disease, like poor breathing and great weakness, eventually leads to people's death.
Okay.
And I think he finished his disease, actually, and I massaged him. And he says it's the first time in weeks that I feel I can breathe, because normally I don't feel I can breathe, because all of his breathing muscles got so much weaker by the disease. So the ability to do what you can do for yourself is so important. And that is what my book is, to meet you where you are. That's why it's so long. That's why we have 600 exercises and 300 illustrations. But this is a book you take and practice for your whole life, starting today. Today, work on your breathing.
Well, what I was impressed with about your book is that, yes, it is a lot of information, but the way you've organized it, it's something that I can, if I have a specific problem, I could go and get an answer to that problem.
Exactly.
All right? And then later go back and get some other stuff.
Exactly.
But I can, if I have multiple sclerosis, and I actually read your that was one of the first chapters I read in your book was on multiple sclerosis, because I'd had a patient that had MS, and so I wanted to just see what you had to say about it, and it was excellent.
Right.
And so we would encourage. So if someone wanted to get a copy of this book, how would they do it?
Well, it's everywhere. You can go to your local bookstore and ask for it. You can call online and ask for it. You can call our school at 415-665-9574 and ask for it. And the code of the book, what's called the barcode, is 978-099-806-0002. It's everywhere right now. So that's you're the first show I'm on.
All right.
Since the book came out, and I'm so happy that I'm on your show, because it It is so appropriate, and you are so great. Let's put it this way.
Well, we'll also have it in our office, so that people will be able to get it through our office too. Because I think it's very, very, very important that people take advantage. As I said, at the outset, people make these resolutions. They want to get well, but one of the things that I've found is that they don't have the tools that they need to get well, and they get frustrated. Exactly. They get frustrated. And what you've done, if you put together a tool that will enable people to look at their problems and to look at their life in general and make something out of it that will make a difference. The number here is 202-588-0893. It's 202-588-0893. This is Dr. Theodore Watkins. The program is To Your Health, and we're talking to our friend, Dr. Amir Snyder, about his new book, Awakening Your Power
of Self-Healing.
Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. You will do a lot to help yourself really get control of many of these diseases that's been plaguing you for a long time. And Dr. Snyder makes it so simple to do. We know Dr. Snyder because he's focused on the eyes. But if you've ever gone to any of his seminars, you'll notice he'll have you rolling a tennis ball under your foot or doing some other things. And so awakening your power of self-healing is not something new for Dr. Snyder. He's always done it, but here he's done it in more depth. And so we want you to take advantage of it. The number here, once again, is 202-588-0893. That's 202-588-0893. We're going to go to our phones, Dr. Snyder. Yes, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, yeah. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. First, I just wanted to say, Dr. Theodore, that I really love your show, and it's just such a big coincidence that you have Dr. Snyder on the call with his book about self-healing. And as I was hearing you all talk, you brought up multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed in 2012 with multiple sclerosis, and about 2 years ago, I stopped taking the injection medication because my body just wasn't responding well to it. So I have been...
That medication is very hard. It leads to nausea with quite a few people.
Yeah, and it wasn't even because I know that the common side effects are nausea and stuff like that. Like, my side effects was that my body was spitting the injection right back out. It just wasn't taking it at all. And I just thought it was weird, so I wanted to figure out how to heal myself through self-healing. And I visited a holistic doctor who doesn't concentrate on MS, but when you were talking about the breathing technique and all of those things, he had written up his plan for me, and it's exactly everything you said. So I'm trying to follow that, and I just want to thank you for writing this book because I believe that will help me with my next steps as far as self-healing, with the breathing, the techniques, the exercising, moving, detoxing, all of those things. So I just wanted to say thank you. And
you're very welcome.
Snyder,
thanks for calling.
Thank you.
And thank you, and I pray that you do very well. It's clear that MS can be controlled, but so many people are just devastated by this disease. You've had a lot of success with it, right, Dr. Snyder?
Sure did. If you stand up in a room with 300 people with multiple sclerosis, everyone has a different. Most people simply have some moderate attacks. Some people get to the wheelchair very quickly. Some people die. That's very unusual. And some people will have an attack and will not have another one for the next 35 years, And the question is, what's the difference? And I think that there isn't only the disease. There's also the healthy part of the body that can help them overcome the tendency that they have. Because in my opinion, In multiple sclerosis, there is a collapse of parts of the nerve tracts in the central nervous system. And that's why we have disappearance of the myelin sheath for monotonous activity. So we teach people coordination exercises. We teach people, as we talked before, breathing exercises. We teach people to move and to control and isolate muscle groups. And the best case I ever had was amazing. She was walking with a cane, and everybody thought that her right leg was paralyzed. Well, I did with her some exercise and massage. I worked 2.5 hours each time. And within 4 sessions, it became clear that actually she was very stiff because her little toe was paralyzed. Her little pinky toe was paralyzed. But the rest of the body was not paralyzed. It just became very stiff in compensation for that paralysis.
Yes.
In 4 sessions, she gave up her cane. It took another year or two to get rid of the paralysis in the toe. But by overcoming the secondary condition,
yes,
we were able to increase much more mobility.
And it's amazing because you got to the core of the problem. And that's very important. There's also nutrition, of course, is very important too.
Sure.
There's a guy, he's dead now, he was a neurologist, Dr. Shank, I think his name is.
Wank, I think, from Oregon, right?
Yeah, and he did some tremendous work with nutrition and got excellent results. So
I agree with that.
You combine the nutrition with the exercise program, the breathing that you're talking about, and you can take this devastating, debilitating disease and basically turn it around. The number is 202-588-0893. Let's go back to our phones. Yes, caller, you're on the line.
Yes, Dr. Watkins, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing extremely well.
I have not heard you for a long time. Today your topic is very good.
Thank you, sir.
And I got a question in hernia. And I need to ask, with hernia, what is the other step other than the knife? And then the name again is bothering me because they call it a hernia, and then they would say the wall of the stomach need to be repaired. So how would it come to be a hernia while they want to repair the stomach wall?
Okay, so
is it a hiatal hernia?
It's an inguinal hernia, correct? Down in the groin area, correct?
Groin area, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. So there are different kinds of hernias, of course. There's an inguinal hernia, there's umbilical hernia, there's a diaphragmatic hernia. There are many different kinds of hernia. But when you think about herniation, what it's talking about is the bowel or something is going through, is herniating through an opening. And in case of hernias, it's a weakness and sometimes a tear in the walls. There's something called an indirect inguinal hernia. That one was probably present at birth, but it took a long time to develop. Then there's something called a direct hernia, and that's where you actually, through increased intra-abdominal pressure for long periods of time, tear the muscles and the fascia that supports the bowel, so it allows the bowel to herniate through. Dr. Snyder, have you had any success with hernias?
I had partial success with hernia. What I can do is prevent one, more than repair one, because sometimes by doing good exercises, which are leg exercises and abdominal exercises, you can sometimes lead to a natural scar tissue that will create connection between the area of the muscle that is torn. But I've met so many people that had 3, 4, or 5 hernia surgeries, and that's what I can prevent. If the hernia is severe, I would recommend a surgery, but then I think it's very important to learn how to lift things. That's also in our book. When you lift things, you have to bend your knees, put whatever you lift close to you, close to your chest, to not stretch your arms, and then lift with your slowly lift your legs up. And it's important that you don't make an effort to the extent that your abdomen is overly strained. Like many people that lift weights, they overstrain their abdomen. Who taught people in the gymnasiums to tense the abdomen with everything they do? It's basically a formula for hernia and arthritis. What we need is to let each muscle work on its own. And in WPFW, I once had one of my good friends, who is tall and very full. She stood on my abdomen. I could lift her up and down without any problem. So I do have very strong abdomen, but I learned that when I use my legs, it should be without much of my abdominal muscles. Well, everywhere else, they tense the abdominal muscles for everything. So what you really need to learn is to separate. So again, in terms of answering the caller, I would need to massage the place and see if it is possible to prevent a surgery. But one thing is preventable is multiple surgeries, which happen to many people who had hernia.
And the other thing is, in terms of how we approach it, we use, I work with the acupuncturist, and we also use magnets. And we get very good results. And you combine that with the exercises that Dr. Snyder and the massage and so forth. I think in many instances. Now, if it's what we call that direct hernia, where the muscles are torn, most times that has to be repaired. But if it's that indirect hernia, many times it can be reversed.
Absolutely.
With the acupuncture.
And magnets make a lot of sense to me, definitely.
Yeah, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. You have an outstanding day.
Yeah, thank you for your information. Bye.
The number is 202-588-0893, 202-588-0893. We're talking to Dr. Meir Snyder about his book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. I like that. I like that that title, Dr. Snyder.
There's something rebellious about it because what happened is in your profession that I'm so sure that you're very excellent here. Everybody is talking about fixing the body this way, fixing the body that way. I'm talking about you. Heal yourself. Learn about your powers. Yeah. Sometimes you need to go through a procedure. I had, for example, patients who gave me a call and said, the doctors want to poke my lungs. They found no evidence of cancer in my lungs. There's a cancer in my uterus. What should I do? Well, okay. I suggested remove your uterus, but don't let them poke your lungs. And don't let them do things that they want to do. Just let them do what you want to do. And if they don't want to listen to you, leave the hospital and go somewhere else. By the way, in the meantime, take a deep breath and sleep well, and take care of yourself as you need to deal with this major issue. Somebody's in the wheelchair. What should I do? Well, let's go to the pool. Let's walk where you can walk in nice warm water. Let's stretch, and let's do some first steps out of the wheelchair. Somebody runs, and he starts to get injured. Well, let's recapture the way that you run and prevent you from tensing your abdomen, tensing your neck, tensing your arm. Let the legs do their work. So there's a lot in this book
that can lead you step by step through the process.
Exactly.
202-588-0893. Let's go back to our phones. Yes, caller, you're on the line.
Yes, can you hear me?
We certainly can.
Okay. Well, I have two situations. I was recently diagnosed with colon cancer, and I went through the surgery to remove the tumor. They found the tumor. And I was on like maybe 6 to 7 months of chemotherapy, and everything went fine. They, reevaluate me and scans and everything, and nothing's showing up. But however, it left a side effect of neuropathy in the feet and the fingertips. And I had poor circulation in the legs, and I was wondering what any suggestions for that.
So here is exactly a classical case where my book can make a huge difference. You see, I'm so happy you did the surgery you need to do. I'm sorry that you had the cancer, and I'm sorry that it needed to be removed. We have to work with how to prevent it, and I'm sure Dr. Watkins talk about it most Mondays. But at this point, what I want to say is that the neuropathy makes a lot of sense. Chemotherapy is not a small thing, and there's a lot of harm in chemotherapy, even though it may have saved your life. So what you need is to work a lot on loosening your hip joints, on loosening your shoulders, on loosening your knees, on massaging your feet. All that is in my book, step by step. But don't start with the circulations chapter. That's the second chapter. Start with the breathing chapter.
I was just going to say that breathing is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, but certainly you can improve that neuropathy, and he has a chapter here that deals with those peripheral nerves and deals with the circulation and deals with the breathing. All of that is part of that neuropathy, that can be reversed. So yes, much of the neuropathy
can be completely reversed.
Much of the neuropathy is chemically based. All right, it's chemically based, and so you can reverse that.
All right, so I should get the book.
Get the book.
I'll come see you, Dr. Watkins.
All right. We'll help you make sure that cancer doesn't come back. 202-588-0893, 202-588-0893. Let's go back to our phones. Just call her. You're on the line.
Thank you so much for taking my call. And, excuse me, I don't know if you'll be able to help me or not, but I have a cholesterol of 250, and the LDL is 169. And the doctor wants to, she started the statins at every other day, so I've had 4 doses of the statins. What is your opinion or the doctor's opinion on statin drugs in African Americans, and have the statins been, have they, been studied in African American females or males?
Well, let me just say this, and Dr. Snyder can certainly add. I control cholesterol in my patients all the time without medication. If the patient wants to make the necessary changes of lifestyle, decreasing stress, increasing exercise, changing diet, and it's easy to do it. You mentioned the bad cholesterol, the LDL. But what about the good cholesterol, the HDL?
The HDL is 67.
Okay. So one of the things that you need to do, you said that your total cholesterol was what?
250.
So 250 divided by 67, you said, right?
Yes.
All right. So that means that your ratio is 3.73. All right.
Okay.
Now, according to the Framingham study, which is the largest, longest prospective study done, if you have a total cholesterol of 150 or a total cholesterol divided by the HDL of 3.4 or less, then you're not in danger of heart disease. And so, so many of the doctors, I believe, incorrectly focus in on the LDL, and I believe that's because of drug sales. But the real issue is the HDL. We got to get that HDL up, and if we get your HDL up just a little bit and your total cholesterol down just a little bit, you'll be in good shape. All right, and so and you can do that without medication, and you can do it in a short period of time. What could she do with your book, Dr. Snyder, that would help with this?
Well, first of all, if she worked on what's your name? I forgot the audience. What's your name?
Mary.
Mary, listen. Statin helps, and I hate it anyway, okay? It would reduce your cholesterol, but it wouldn't put you really in a safe territory. It has its own side effects. What I really think that is important is exactly what Dr. Watkins told you, and to add to it, if you will work a lot on breathing, on moving, on loosening your joints, on allowing better blood flow, the velocity of the blood flow, the movement, plus paying attention at least to some extent for your diet will make a difference. And it doesn't matter if you're African American or Chinese. That's basically what you need to do to get better. The worst sin that you have is that you're a modern person. And with the food that we eat in this life and with the stress that we have in this life, that leads to a lot of problems. And so many people have high blood pressure these days. And I'm not distinguishing one group from another, even though they say that African Americans have higher level of high blood pressure, but they're talking about experiments of the past. I think that everybody else is catching up to this group, and everybody else has it. And so we need to do a lot of work to stop depending on chemicals and not allow ourselves to get fixed, because those chemicals are not a free lunch. You do pay for them a dear price, and they themselves are toxic. And if you depend on that, eventually it would lead to other problems than the heavy cholesterol. So I think that what Dr. Watkins told you is good, and I think that if you follow my book, take some of your friends to follow it with you, it would make a big difference. Just work on it daily, or at least every other day, exercise by exercise. Give yourself 3 or 4 exercises you like to do every day, of breathing, of stretching, of moving, and you'll feel completely differently.
Are there any particular foods I should try to eat?
Yes.
Green leafy vegetables.
Okay, green leafy vegetables.
Yeah, I had a patient. His total cholesterol was 777.
Oh,
wow.
In 2 months, his total cholesterol was 118.
Oh my gosh.
Without any medication. All right? Without any medication. Matter of fact, because his cholesterol was so high, I was ready to put him on some drugs.
Okay.
But because he also had severe elevated liver enzymes, and the statins and all those cholesterol-lowering medication also have a devastating effect on the liver, I couldn't. And so I had to change his lifestyle. And we did it. And in 2 months, he went from 777 to 118. All right. And it's a no-brainer, you know, but you have to look in the mirror and see that you're outstanding and that you're worth making some changes for.
Okay. Well, I appreciate, both of your time, and I'll do my best.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We need more doctors like you, Dr. Watkins.
It's just amazing.
Like
so many
400,000 people in this country alone die from wrongful medical treatment. 1 of every 7 patients in the hospital because of medical treatment. We need to have the most important procedures available, but at the same time reduce the amount of procedures we take.
Yeah, and when you say awakening your power of self-healing, that means you have to take some responsibility. You have to take some responsibility, and that's critically important. 202-588-0893. Let's go back to our phones. Just call her. You're on the line.
Hi, yes. I am the very first caller that called, and I was so excited with talking to you all that I forgot to ask my question. So I was wondering if I could, ask my question about multiple sclerosis. So I told you all that I stopped taking the medication, and I wanted to get Dr. Snyder's opinion on that. Is that a bad thing?
Did. I'm really happy you did.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because, what you need to work is on balancing the use of your body. We have 600 muscles in the body. And we used to once climb up caves, climb up trees, walk bare feet, although that sounds terrible in D.C. these days, but that's what people used to do. Right now, we're confined to shoes, and we don't climb up anything. I mean, if you lift your arms up, it's only to pick up something from a shelf. Well, the point is, we need to discover muscles we have never, ever used before. We need to combine between them and the muscles we always use, and that will help us change completely the way that the central nervous system works. Because we overload some parts of the nervous system and others collapse. And I always accused medicine of knowing 100% of 10% of human reality. Then what happens is they only look at your disease and not at the process that may cause it. That's what my book will do to you and all the friends that you will engage. I really suggest in that book to meet in support groups, just like they meet in philosophy group, to meet in support groups once every 2 or 3 weeks, work together, and each one would work on themselves at home. It can make a huge difference that groups work with it. So that's why I'm calling for it. I'm calling for a quiet revolution, because this revolution is not only for D.C. and it's not only for the United States, it's for the whole world.
I believe it.
We need to rebel against the fact that we're being told that we are much of nothing and we know nothing and we can do nothing. Opposite. We are powerful. We can be helped by the medical profession. Most definitely. We need to sometimes. But even when we are being helped by them, we need to strengthen ourselves so the procedure will work much better.
We need to take charge of our own health.
Absolutely.
I tell my patients, I'm not your boss, you're my boss.
I like that. And I have one more question, and I promise because my neurologist is terrible. He doesn't give me any information, so I just stopped going to him. Like, I'm trying to find natural ways to help my body get better, and he had no answers for me. But I just have one more question, and I promise you I'll be done. So I just think I call it a conspiracy, but I think that it's very odd. I'm in my late 30s, and I have 3 friends that are also in their late 30s that went to the same high school as me in Maryland, in this area. And one passed away from complications of MS, and the one is very has a lot of issues with the cane and blind and that stuff, and another one is having issues with pain. I don't have any problems since that first symptom. I haven't experienced anything, which makes me believe that I don't have this disease. But do you think it's maybe the environment that we're in? I mean, where did this come from? I mean, I just think it's a big coincidence that 4 of us in the same high school got this.
So I want to tell you, I went once to British Columbia, to the Multiple Sclerosis Society there, and I worked with 300 multiple sclerosis patients. Each one is different. It's quite possible that, having a disease is not necessarily having an illness, and that's where we're coming. Let's say you have multiple sclerosis. Let's say you have it. But it's quite possible that you will have no symptom for the next 35 or 40 years. It's quite possible that if you have a symptom, you'd be able to overcome it rather quickly. And so I really recommend that you work with it. It's also my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing, shows you some cases, and my book, Movement for Self-Healing, also shows you some cases where people actually overcame symptoms that are considered to be impossible to overcome. So multiple sclerosis is so different from person to person that it's amazing. But what you have is the power to heal from it and the power to cause a remission that doctors don't believe you can have. And I think the least you take the medication, the better you're off. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much. You really have helped me, and I'm not going to call anymore. I got all my questions out. Thank you both. I really appreciate it. I will get the book today.
All right. Let's quickly, we just have about 8 minutes to go. Let's quickly go back to our phones. Yes, caller, you're on the line. Yes, caller.
Yes.
Yes, you're on the line.
Okay. My name is Rosetta.
Yes, Rosetta.
And I'm from Waldorf, and I'm calling concerning a sciatic nerve.
Turn your radio off.
Turn it down.
Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Yes. Okay.
So what you do with sciatica is as follow. What leg hurts you right now?
My right side.
Okay. So lie on your left side. Okay. Bend your left knee, and then bend your right knee even more, and put your foot over the left knee, and put something cold on your lower back. You can put something warm on your neck, like a warm towel on your neck, and cold on your lower back, because probably you have inflammation in the lower back and pressure on the nerve.
Okay.
That is for when you have the attack. And then massage gently. There's also what's called Bunger ball that you can tap on the side of the right leg to take away some of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
When the pain is going to be taken away, again, icing or cooling the lower back, bending the 2 legs, lying on the left, and then breathing deeply. And then what you need to do later on is work on building up stronger shin and calf muscles so you don't have pressure on your lower back. So what you need to do is read again. Start with the sciatic chapter in my book, continue with the back chapter, and then go back to the breathing chapter and circulation chapter, and you're going to see that you're going to be out of the sciatica and out of any tendency for sciatica ever.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's quickly go back to our phones. Yes, caller, you're on the line.
Yes, my name is Mr. Jenkins, and I'm trying to do this quick.
Cut your radio off, please.
Okay. Okay, is that good?
That's good.
Okay, and I'm 78 years old. I was a former airborne paratrooper. I jumped out of a number of planes, and what is happening now, 50 years later, I've gone through 3 knee surgeries, knee replacement. Knee replacement did not work. Everybody else seemed to work except mine. When I was going through the scoping, it was good. I didn't have the problem, but I took that extra step. Now it's the second time they stuck in another knee replacement, 2015. Still, I don't have any relief. Third, when I was exercising, when I was breathing, and without this leg problem, I had the thing where I could do Zumba for 2 hours. I burned up 1,300 calories. I was breathing correctly and the whole thing. Now, the question is, I heard you say something about running backwards, which I have also tried. But at this point, I cannot bend my knee back to get that kind of, you know what I'm saying, Doctor?
Yes,
get that
I do.
kind of motion.
First of all, I want to take issue with you. And the issue I want to take with you...
Please, go ahead.
The issue I want to take with you is that other people benefit from the knee surgeries. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Once you replace a joint, most people need to replace the rest of the joints as well. So
True.
I think that many people,
Doctor, tell me. I'm listening.
many people hurt after the knee surgery, and many times they don't work. Now, what should we do in your case in short? We have to first of all work on the ankles, because the ankles are not as injured as the knees. So doing a lot of ankle rotation is a great thing for you. We need to work on your hip joints. So, for example, lying on your back, bending your knees, and moving the legs from side to side could be a great thing. We need to work on your neck, because the neck must be stiff after all that happened to your knees. So there are wonderful exercises like lying on your back, holding your head with your hand, and moving the head from side to side without the neck doing anything, moving the head all the way to the side and tapping on the other side of the neck and slowly loosening it up. Now, you have all of this in my book.
Would he focus on the chapter on arthritis?
Definitely.
Yes.
So first of all, look at the chapter of arthritis, then work on joints, then work on the nervous system, because I think that the surgery could have affected that as well. I want to tell you, you're lucky. Some people die in these surgeries. Don't think.
I know.
Don't
All
think
right.
that.
We're gonna try to we're gonna cut you off now. We have time for just one last caller.
All right, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Dr.
All right, but make sure you get the book and focus on that chapter initially on arthritis.
Will do. Okay, bye now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go to our last caller. They're gone. Okay. All right. So Mir, in summary, this sounds like a very, very powerful book that's able to help a number of people, but they have to take their time and read it and do the things that it says. Is that correct?
Correct. And I want to tell you something else. It can actually help everyone. If I was thinking about a book that a cancer patient can take for themselves, that an athlete can take for himself, that's the book. Because I will never forget that once I had a class with a very fit person who is also a boxer, but he had the problem with his retina, and with a muscular dystrophy patient that his wife had to carry him like a little potato sack on her shoulders to go up and down the stairs. Both of them benefited.
Yes.
The boxer relaxed, and the muscular dystrophy patient could cross the room with the help of his wife. So this book affects everyone in every way you can think about. All of us start with breathing and circulation, and know that you have a lot of powers and you own them, and many people everywhere in the world try to take them away from you.
Fantastic. Dr. Snyder, we are so happy to have you on. We look forward to having you on again with another powerful book. My patients have benefited from your books in the past. I know they will again today. Dr. Mir Snyder, his new book, Awakening Your Power of Health Healing. Self-healing. You can get it on Amazon. Next week you can get it in my office. We're going to get some. But you can get it on Amazon. You can go to most of your bookstores. It's on. You go online. He has an excellent video that talks about the book, and we're just happy that To Your Health was the first show that he brought this fantastic book.
And for a good reason. It's the best show.
All right. God bless. And you have an outstanding day and a fantastic year.
You too. Bye-bye.
And we'll see you again on next week.